let's get cranking, if you will.
Okay, if someone says the word crank one more time, I'm quitting.
What's the problem?
The theme for this podcast is Cranking It, brought to you by
WD-40, making it easier to crank all the time.
Cause we way too high for you, tripping like we got too much on. Don't they got love before us, cause we staying all night long. Yo, when you walk in the club, you better believe we know what's up. Got these girls on little trends, throwing rhythm in the dance.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back to another long-awaited rendition of the Bros and the Berg podcast. We're recording this one day before the 4th of July, Independence Day for our non-American listeners. We appreciate you for tuning in after our 2-month hiatus. If you've been here before, you know who we are, but I'll introduce ourselves all the same. My name is Ryan Doyle. I'm the handsome co-host on this podcast, joined with the man with the football background, Mr. Robbie Bergstone, and the man with no filters, no blur, no background, raw dog in life in the glasses. That man is Connor Doyle, our executive producer, and the man that makes this show happen.
This is the most clean I've seen Connor's room in a long time. I know it's because he's home and it's not at school, but it's very clean right now. So I just want to compliment you on that, Connor.
There is something under that comforter, but
there did look something suspect. It did look really suspect under there for sure. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Now that we're really looking at Connor's bedroom, see the trash, the multiple water bottles,
Gatorade bottle over there.
Yeah, lemon lime.
He's cutting. He's definitely cutting.
I'm always on the cut.
I say after I eat like a whole tray of cookies.
Correct.
It'll start tomorrow.
All right, gents. It's good to be back with you guys. Usually we do start out with something fun, like a draft, or we start out with typically, a little game. But I think these people have waited long enough to hear our thoughts, our opinions. I think we get straight into the sports, and we're going to get into some of the most important things that we were unable to cover after our hiatus, and not our first hiatus, to be totally honest. I mean,
and I can promise you it won't be the last either.
No,
I can
not at all.
Guarantee that.
Consistency is not what you come to this show for. It's for these two fine gentlemen sitting across from me. So we're going to talk first about the Stanley Cup. The Florida Panthers did, in fact, beat the Edmonton Oilers in a 7-game series, 4-3 games, preventing the arguably what would have been maybe the biggest collapse in American sports ever, or up there at least.
You say that, but actually a 3-0 comeback has happened in the Stanley Cup before.
I did know that.
It would not have been necessarily the worst, but it would be up there for sure.
Absolutely.
It's crazy how that happens in hockey. It seems to be the most frequently of all the best of 7
major sports for sure. Yeah.
Once again, Canada just simply can't get it done. It's been a theme.
Wow.
I sent you guys a fun fact, I think, earlier, but a American team has won the Grey Cup, which is the championship for the Canadian Football League, more recently than a Canadian hockey team has won the Stanley Cup. In case you're curious, the Montreal Canadiens are the last Canadian team to win the Stanley Cup back in 1993. And the Baltimore Stallions won the Grey Cup in 1995, back when the CFL was trying to expand into the U.S. So,
how many Canadian teams are in the NHL?
There's all right. Big. Let's see if we can name them all. We'll go.
Oh God, here we go.
Vancouver, Edmonton, Calgary, Winnipeg, Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa.
Yep. Was that
7? I got 7. That's 7. Let's double check ourselves.
I'm thinking of another Canadian city.
Let's see.
7. We got them all.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Look at that. That's what these are resident
not
NHL.
Casuals.
Yeah, that was actually pretty impressive, Rob. I would have gotten there, not as quickly as you would have gotten there, but I would have.
Ottawa and Winnipeg are definitely the ones that I think are easier to forget. 100%.
The Jets and the Senators, right? No.
Yeah, Winnipeg is the Jets. Ottawa is the Senators.
Yeah, okay.
What do you guys think is the most popular hockey team in Canada?
I could have sworn it was the Canucks.
It's not the Canucks. They are 3rd.
I actually have no idea. Calgary?
It's not Calgary. They are 4th.
Wow.
You're missing
kinda
what I
suck.
believe are the two biggest cities in Canada.
Well, Toronto, I thought they would just have like split attention, which is why I wouldn't think that they.
The Maple Leafs are the most popular. 27%
really?
of Canadians are fans of the Maple Leafs, and then 26% are fans of the Canadians.
I
Which
guess
makes
just
sense.
the biggest.
It's named
but
after them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Winnipeg is the smallest, which makes sense. They're the newest team back in Canada. So
So 27% of the Canadians are just coping constantly because of
Correct.
how bad the Leafs are. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Robbie, going back to the Stanley Cup real quick, did you have any thoughts on this series as our resident NHL expert?
I do want to give a big shout out to the Oilers. I thought I was going to miss the entirety of both the Stanley Cup final and the NBA finals because I was in Japan while they both started and they both got off to 3-0 deficits. Obviously, we'll talk about the NBA here in a second. But I didn't get to watch a lot of the games, unfortunately, but I did watch Game 7, and the Oilers were just cooked. I mean, their legs were just gone. McDavid just was done. Not McDavid.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm right.
David.
Okay, I second guessed myself. Sorry, guys.
Don't.
Their legs were just cooked, and you could tell. They really tried to stay in the game. They really did stay in the game till the end, but just ultimately, I think Florida took their foot off the gas in a couple of the games. They let the Oilers kind of come back and win because they're like, all right, we're still up. We just have to get one more, and I think that benefited them in Game 7 back home.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it was pretty. They had some solid games. The Oilers. They had one that they won 8-1. They had one they won 5-1.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
So it was pretty. It was pretty crazy to kind of see their comeback effort. But unfortunately, just fell short. And I unfortunately did not get the chance to watch the Game 7. But I heard the third period was pretty insane. From what I heard, which I mean, you would have to assume so. You're fighting for the.
I was really hoping for an overtime in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup.
That would have been crazy.
One goal wins it, and that is just insane. Like every single shot, you're like on the edge of your seat. So that would have been cool.
Peak entertainment on the ice.
Mm-hmm.
We'll move away from the ice to the hardwood, reviewing the NBA Finals, the Dallas Mavericks and the Boston Celtics. Not going as many games in this series, only going to 5 games. The Mavericks only managing to get 1. The Boston Celtics have won the NBA championship for this year in Game 5 at Boston. Gentlemen, I'll be totally honest with you. For those that are not frequent listeners of the podcast, Ryan and I are from the Dallas, Texas area. We are Mavericks fans. Going into this series, I did not think we were going to win. So this result did not shock me, but I did think that we might be able to get it to 6. We did not.
I was pretty surprised that you guys go down 3-0. I did not expect that to happen.
I as well.
Yep.
I as well. I mean, Boston had been the best team all year. There had been no really question about it. Like they waltzed through the Eastern Conference, like what 12-2 or whatever. Like even without Porzingis, like one of their best players the entire time, they looked unbeatable. They get him back for the finals. Obviously, he then has like an injury, like 1 or 2 games in. Doesn't really matter. They were the team to beat this year, and just no one was beating them. Mavericks, obviously, the big surprise coming out of the West. I think all Mavs fans are absolutely thrilled that we got to the finals. Seeing the emergence of Derek Lively as like a 20-year-old rookie. Trying to match up against the best team in the NBA with a 5-out offense. Like that's, any veteran center would struggle. And I thought he did extremely well. The Kyrie bug against the Celtics, definitely.
It's a mental thing
continued.
at this point, right? It's a mental thing. It seems like he's just not himself when he plays the Celtics.
Yep.
It's crazy. He's
I have a question.
I
have a question for you guys. I didn't watch Game 4, but do you think the Celtics threw Game 4 so they could win Game 5 back in Boston? Somewhat serious questions. Like, obviously, that game was not close, and then they came back to Boston, and Game 5 wasn't very close either.
I think it started where the Mavs actually started the game well. Boston didn't, and then when it got down to 20 points, then I don't think they tried to cut back.
No,
they didn't throw, but they rested up early. Yeah,
correct. Yeah. Well, because at that point, Tatum and Brown in the first half were like a combined 2 for 16
it was
or
fucking
something.
Brick
And so
Central out of those two.
Yeah.
Which is
it worked out. Like over the series, like you'd rather have all of your misses be in one game versus the course of the series. So that kind of works out.
Which is nuts because they were on fire like every other game. It was crazy that it was law of averages, but works in a very weird way to where all of them were. It's that's crazy. But so definitely, I wouldn't say disappointing because I don't think any of the Dallas fans expected to get to the finals. So you definitely can't say disappointing season. But obviously, you never wanted to see your team go down in a fashion like that. So
I will say, like the Mavs, and this could be like a Homer Cope thing. But I thought the Mavs at every point in the games that they lost had a chance to take the game back. Like they got within single digits, like down 3 points, down 5 points or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the Celtics would just stop it.
Three
They'd hit 3 threes in a row and take all the gas out of the Mavs. It's just, unfortunately, they were the best team. I don't think anyone's gonna argue that. But
well, and they're also a team that, like, it's super uncommon, and obviously, Ryan, you mentioned Porzingis's health struggles in the postseason, but they were one of the healthiest regular season teams in the past 20 years. Like, it was unreal because that entire unit played together the entire season, and obviously got to develop alongside each other just even more. And so I think that was a huge help, the fact that they played together the entire season. Obviously were super familiar. Not that team isn't familiar, like they've been playing with each other for a long time, but the fact that a team is that healthy and you go into playoffs like that is pretty ridiculous.
And playing so many teams that weren't healthy on top of that.
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
I mean, the Eastern Conference playoffs, you didn't play a healthy team until the finals, which I think was a big benefit to the Celtics. Getting through
like
the
the
first
healthiest
couple rounds.
Porzingis had been since New York.
Yeah.
Iron Man Drew Holiday, who was just unbelievably underrated signing for that team. I mean, just the defensive presence as well as just being a floor general. Like he is so underrated. I mean, he did the same thing in Milwaukee.
He always has been. Yeah,
like it's crazy to watch that.
So
but
two rings now. I mean, does he start approaching Hall of Fame? I mean, I know he's never been quite the individual contributor, but 2 rings and a pivotal player on both of those teams. Really, I don't think either of those teams win without Drew Holiday.
He's never been elite.
He's never been the focal guy, but he's been integral to both of those teams winning a finals. I don't think either of those teams win without Drew Holiday.
He had that play
very good.
That is probably a good play
against whenever they played the Suns, and I can't remember if it was because the Bucks ended up winning in 6, right? When they played the Suns, he had a play in Game 6 that was like a defensive play that ended up winning them the entire series. Because I remember he was like on the baseline, he threw it off of somebody with like 5 seconds left. It was a crazy play because he stole it and they threw it off him. It was insane. But I mean, he just makes plays like that, and it's, as Ryan said, such an underrated player. Something else we got to mention from this series. Jaylen Brown winning Finals MVP. Congratulations to Jaylen.
I got a really big upvoted comment on Sleeper when that came out. When I said when Tatum's contract got released, which we'll talk about later, I said overpaid.
Hold on. I don't even want to hear this. What are you doing commenting on Sleeper? Like, I thought you were going to say Reddit. Like anything else, you said Sleeper.
I get push notifications I set up push notifications for NBA free agency.
I had to turn those off. I had a bunch of them on when we did that fantasy basketball league for like 3 weeks, and then like none of us were checking it after that, and I had all the notifications on for that, and I had to turn it back off again. Drew Holiday is currently 36th among active players for Hall of Fame chances from Basketball Reference. They have him at 1.6%. No idea if that's been updated since.
Wow.
Yeah.
How old is he? Like 30. I was going to guess like Kyrie's age.
I have no idea how old he is, actually. Yeah, I would.
32, 33?
He is 34.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean,
probably crazy.
I don't know what his contract is like, but like obviously Boston can't fucking really like afford shit.
Yeah.
After these 2 giant like White's and Tatum's contract, they just dropped I think literally half a bill on just those 2.
Yeah, that's right. Really crazy. I don't know. So yeah, we will move on from the NBA Finals. We will get into some of the free agency stuff. Earlier today, it came out that LeBron James has signed a 2-year contract. It's going to be his last contract ever. This comes as no surprise, obviously, after his son got drafted with the 55th pick to the Los Angeles Lakers, and obviously also a new coach for the Lakers in JJ Redick. And we know, obviously, through their podcasts and just their general rapport that LeBron has a relationship with him as well. So yeah, comes as no surprise, and most likely the last contract of his NBA career.
There is a rumor that he's willing to take slightly less than the max. He's agreed to the max, but if they can find the right player, if they need to get under the second apron, reports are that he might take a little bit less money to get them there.
Problem is the max. The fact that they offered that to him up front makes me think that they aren't finding anybody that's interested.
I think he's just got to find a vet min. Like there's definitely dudes that like LeBron want to play.
Well, you know who offered LeBron that contract, right? LeBron. I mean, LeBron is the GM of the Lakers. Let's not get it twisted. I mean, so like he can change the contract whenever he wants because you can't actually sign, I believe, until the 6th. I think is the actual open when you can actually sign. You can agree right now, but nothing is signed, I believe, until the 6th. So there's a couple more days left still.
I kind of want to segue from LeBron. I know we were talking about NBA free agency. Also wanted to mention the NBA draft. A lot of WH Omegalols going in the top 5. 2 Frenchmen going back to back, 1-2. Crazy.
It was a WH Omegalol draft in total. Like, there's no guys in that draft. You're like, my team got that guy. Now we're good. Like, there's not a single one.
Yeah. From an analyst perspective, it was one of the weakest drafts ever.
It's crazy.
Everyone's just going to tank for Cooper Flag next year. That's what's going to happen. It's like, all right, well, now it's time to go.
Biggest nepotism pick and signing of all time?
Question mark?
And the contract. Did you guys see his contract? 4 years for a late second team.
And they already said that he's going to be mostly spending his time on the G League team. They already said that.
He's just for marketing. Like,
100%.
He's not for a hooper. Like,
no.
There's so many more dudes that deserve that contract.
So someone said that this man really got 4 years in an NBA contract just for emerging from LeBron's balls, and I thought that was pretty accurate.
Jeez. Wow. Man. All right. Getting into some of the other news, we have a big free agency move, especially for Ryan and I. Klay Thompson, the former Golden State Warrior, has signed with the Dallas Mavericks. I mean, I think it's a good pickup, especially on the contract that he's on.
I think this is like the most polarizing free agency signing of this season, of people who think this is a classic washed or not scenario.
Yes.
Oh, we got to bring that back. Okay, we'll do that.
This is like top tier washed or not commentary.
Klay Thompson, washed or not.
For what we need him to do, no.
For the contract, no.
Yeah, correct.
For like a 16, 17 mil contract, I mean, you got bums getting fucking paid way more than that. That's THJ money right now.
I mean, jeez. I mean, compared to his prime, obviously he's washed. yeah. I mean, because like Klay, and if we had gotten, I mean, this is obviously like, everybody would have loved him in his prime, but I mean, like, not just from a shooting perspective, but Klay was an elite defender in his prime. He's just, after the knee injury,
now he has no knees.
Yeah, he's
got
just
no
not
knees.
that anymore. But which is something that we still need to pick up, especially with the loss of Derrick Jones Jr. But the fact that he is someone who doesn't need the ball in his hands, he is a great spot up shooter. He provides that veteran leadership. I think he's a really good pickup for us, especially as Ryan said, at that price tag.
Yeah.
Bro, just sit your ass in the corner. Luka drive the paint,
exactly.
and wham, dude. Fuck it. Yeah,
You need Klay to come. You need Klay to come off the bench and hit like 4 or 5 threes a game in big games. Like, just go out there and like hit a couple of those and get it going. You don't think so?
He's not coming up. No, he's not coming out.
Yeah, I guess I don't know if
he's
anyone else like
three.
You'd rather. I feel like you'd rather with his knees have him come off the bench and save some minutes. But
Kyrie, Luka, Klay, PJ, and Lively.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Probably makes the most sense. I mean,
Lively
defense is not great.
Yeah, but they're all like the three guards are all such liabilities on defense.
Correct.
I will not accept that anymore. Luka proved that he is not a liability on defense anymore. Luka is a competent defender.
I'll put it this way: none of them are pluses on the defensive side.
Luka just
none of them are at
that
advantage.
much energy on defense if he's carrying the entirety of the Mavs' offensive load.
Especially if we play the Celtics, because then Kyrie is a bum.
See, like Klay's not like Klay on the Warriors, right? Steph was the one doing all the running around and taking the blows on defense, while Klay was the one who would just find a spot in the corner and then play crazy defense. Like they just swapped intensity on either side of the floor.
I mean, there's a reason that he set that record with 11 dribbles or whatever it was. He didn't need to.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's a crazy game. That's one of the most insane games I've ever seen. But so yeah, I think it's overall a good pickup. We'll see kind of what the role ends up being. I'm interested to see what Jason Kidd decides to do with him, but I think it's a great pickup. We'll go to the other probably biggest move so far of the offseason. Pandemic P. Paul George moving over to the Philadelphia 76ers. I think this is actually a really important move for both the teams. For the Clippers, I think that kind of signifies we got to rebuild. And for the Sixers, I think that says we still think that we're contenders and we're kind of going all in. And if they don't do anything in these next 2 seasons,
here's my
yikes.
take on this for the Sixers. This means nothing.
Yeah,
like absolutely nothing for these Sixers. Embiid's gonna be hurt. You have Paul George in the playoffs, which I mean, Maxi's going to be the best player in the playoffs. Like, we already know that. Like, whenever they get into playoff series, it's going to be Tyrese Maxey. It just doesn't. I don't think it moves the needle enough. I really don't.
As bad as playoff P is, he's an upgrade over 29 minutes, 0 points to Tobias Harris. I mean, that dude fucking.
Tobias Harris got a contract. He got a huge contract.
Don't even get me started on that. The fucking Pistons are throwing money at shit.
Dude, his agent is the GOAT. His agent is literally the greatest of all time.
Hang that man's suit in the rafters somewhere. Like,
for
Jesus.
Real. Who's that? Remind me who the baseball player is that gets the yearly money.
Oh, it's Bobby Bonilla Day. Like, literally yesterday.
It's the same thing.
The first was Bobby Bonilla.
Was it actually?
Day.
Oh, I forgot.
Yes, Harris is making $10 million more a year than Klay Thompson on the new contract.
That's insane. What does Tobias Harris do?
He's going to be a veteran presence for the young Pistons team, guys. Come on.
Him and Cade.
Yeah, he's gonna be taking Cade to the titty bar. Like that's about it, dude. Like,
in Detroit? That's bold.
That's great. Well, okay, the Paul George move also it doesn't confuse me from his perspective, but it confuses me like that the Clippers didn't do more, especially after getting Harden on that contract that they got, because they paid Harden a decent amount.
So if you're the Clippers, like what is your thought? Because you're now worse.
Yeah.
Every single player you have is too old. Dude, that name makes me so angry. I was so mad the Hornets drafted a French guy, because when he was on the Hornets, he was so bad.
He was bad on the Hornets. Cody Zeller, was he also on the Hornets during that time?
Of course he was. Yeah, that was
you're nice pull, Connor.
Yeah, thank you. Terry Rozier, yeah.
No, Scary Terry was later. Scary Terry was later than that group. But.
Yeah, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist?
Come on now.
He might have still been hanging around the end of the bench, yeah.
He might have been hanging around. Yeah, that's great. But like, so Kawhi is a question mark, maybe.
Does he play? Is he going to be on the court? I don't know.
Is he on like a 2-year? Like, does he have 1 more year left on the contract? Is that what Kawhi's at right now?
If we're talking about black holes, Westbrook picked up his player option of $4.5
million. Yeah, it's not that much. I also, after we finish this, I want to go back quick after Robbie looks this up. I want to go back quickly to the Klay thing to ask another question. So, Robbie, what is his contract status as it stands?
Let me see. He is under contract through the next 3 years, actually.
Oh, okay. Good Lord.
Yeah.
So, what do you do as Kawhi? He just sits there in LA, like.
Yeah, I don't know. I literally have no idea.
Decomposes. I don't know.
Yeah, for real.
Trade for LeBron and Bronny, and then they don't have to move. Like I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. That's wild. So the question I want to ask, I want to go back to the Klay thing real quick, and it's in reference to. So, to my knowledge, Steph Curry's contract ends next year. What does Curry do? What do you think he does?
I don't think he leaves Golden State. I'd be really surprised. I wasn't that surprised that Klay left, because there's been rumors that Klay wasn't super happy in general in Golden State. Mm-hmm. But they love Steph, and Steph loves being there. I would be very surprised if
Steph,
he left.
If Steph takes a pay cut, you could potentially get some dudes in there to help.
I think Steph sees how this year goes, sees if maybe they can make some moves next offseason, or maybe have some ideas to make moves next offseason. And does he maybe hang it up? He doesn't need to play. I know LeBron's played for forever, and now everyone wants to play as long as LeBron. But Steph doesn't need to do that. Steph has accomplished everything anyone could ever want in an NBA career. I wouldn't be shocked to see Steph hang it up next year. I don't know, but I guess we'll see.
I mean, he still hoops. He's still very much like a max player.
It's been interesting kind of seeing the comments and stuff, and I'm interested to see if he'll address it at all. I'm sure he won't. But people are legitimately angry at Draymond because they're like, you have caused the downfall of the Warriors, with Klay leaving and stuff. Just I think on the back of the Jordan Poole incident. I don't think they ever recovered.
Back to the Jordan Poole incident is where everyone says the Warriors dynasty ended is at that.
But I think they're right. I think that's accurate.
My thing is we saw Jordan Poole had that great year, and he's coming back, and then since he got traded away, he's not been all that
Correct.
good.
He's
I mean,
been bad.
was he a
It's been one of the worst contracts in the league. Like,
yeah?
like
Was
was
it because he's in the Hornets or not the Hornets, the Warrior system, or is he just? I mean, did he just like catch fire in a bottle one year and then hasn't been able to get it since then? I don't know. I don't know if he would have still been that same player because we haven't seen it since then.
Yeah.
But I do. I mean, that probably is the point you can trace it back to because that's where it all kind of went downhill.
But I think even outside of the Jordan Poole stuff, well, because I mean, Draymond ended up putting stress on the front office. He obviously put stress on Steph and Clay as the team leaders, and also as his friends. I mean, so many people that he's won rings with. So I mean, you just created so many awful dynamics just in that one moment that it's crazy.
They also really haven't hit in the draft lately. I mean, I know it's hard when you're picking, at the end of the first round. Like obviously, it's very difficult to hit. Like. They got Wiseman when they were up there. That didn't pan out at all. The Kuminga's he's been getting better, but he still hasn't been quite the player I think they thought he was going to be. I'm thinking of missing someone else. Do they drafted that just is
Moses Moody? He was decent, and then he kind of fell off.
Yeah, I think they just haven't like really hit on anything in the draft, even like a role player. It doesn't feel like.
Yeah.
They also I don't see this as a podcast. They also cut Chris Paul. By the way,
he signed. He signed with the Spurs,
which is a really good signing, honestly. For the
I think
Spurs.
so. I mean, I really do too.
Yeah, I think the Warriors thing is interesting, especially off the back of whenever they won the 2022 championship. I remember thinking, I was like, Clay, Draymond, and Steph, that's probably going to be their last one. But I was like, in my head, they had a backup starting five that I was like, these guys are just going to replace them and they're going to continue the dynasty. Yep. And it was Poole, it was Moses Moody, it was Wiseman, it was Kuminga, and there was some other guy it was a 2 or a 3.
God, I remember that finals Kuminga was cooking.
Dude,
everyone was like, he's going to be the next
It was crazy. And they had Wiggins at the time. I mean, it was a whole thing. They were just going to reload and just be fine. And then obviously, and literally that offseason moment, like screwed them. It was crazy.
Harrison Barnes, Kevon Looney as well were there. Like probably not at that point anymore, but like their draft picks they had.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at their draft picks now.
Neither of which turned out to be elites. I mean, Barnes has been good, but never elite. Yeah. So it's interesting. All right, we'll move on. It's still in the NBA, just a few more. So Donovan Mitchell signed a maximum extension with the Cleveland Cavaliers, 3 years for $150 million. I think this was a no-brainer from Cleveland's
perspective. Interesting for 3 years. Did he sign a longer one than that?
I think it was the max deal. Actually, I don't know if it was. I don't know if
I read something like his next deal would actually be bigger for some reason. I saw that somewhere.
Maybe
that his
potentially
next
with CBA timing that he wanted to
There's a reason it was that short.
Yeah, because he's got a player option as well. Mm-hmm. So I believe this positions him to opt out and get the 35% max after 10 years in the league. Interesting.
Oh, interesting. That is interesting.
For Mitchell, delivers a fast path to 10-year service criteria, allowing him to pursue a 5-year, $380 million plus extension in 2027.
As it stands now, by 2027, that's going to be so much more than $380 million.
It's a gamble. It's a huge gamble on himself, right?
For sure.
Like you got to cook to earn that kind of bag.
You got to think, even if you have a year where you're hurt or have a bad year over the course of 3 years, like people are going to forget about that if you have 2 good years in the NBA. Right, like it's not really going to matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Moving to the next thing here. Jason Tatum, coming off the back of a championship, has signed the biggest. I'm going to say this every offseason because it's just going to keep going up. Has signed the biggest contract in NBA history, a 5-year, $314 million contract. Again, no surprise here.
I know the Celtics have to pay those guys, but you do feel like they're starting to get themselves into a corner where, like, who else do you sign now? You got Brown on a huge contract. You got Tatum on a huge contract. You got Derek White on a huge contract. Like, you're running out of money.
How are you going to pay Porzingis? Like Porzingis is on a shorter term contract because of his injuries. I can't imagine they're going to have any money to keep him. Horford's at the end of his career. Like you're going to run it. You're not going to have any bigs. So I'm really interested to see what they potentially do.
How old is Horford? He might retire.
38. I mean, he's fucking he might ancient, retire. Bro.
He's been playing for a long time. I remember him being on those Hawks teams that like were really good in the regular season. Then got ruled by LeBron in the playoffs like all the time.
Dude, I'd go out.
I really want to use that segue, Rob. Talking about the Hawks, DeJounte Murray was traded to the New Orleans Pelicans. The Hawks are in what we call fucked up shit creek without a paddle, I believe would be the phrase I'm using.
What a weird move. What like
The DeJounte Trey experiment didn't work. It just did
no,
not
I
work.
agree, but it's just like what?
Spurs are like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That was just a weird move.
Also, what do you do with Trey Young?
Yikes.
He's kind of
cool with him.
I don't know. I mean, they had Clint Capella and Trey Young and DeJounte, which I thought was going to be a pretty decent three.
You would
and
think.
it just didn't work.
I mean, I guess you have to get Trey Young to play maybe a little bit less selfish. I mean, I know that's his game is the thing, though. That's the way he plays. Like, he's going to take shots. He's going to put, like, I don't know what you do. I have no idea.
I mean, the Hawks right now are just like, I mean, with DeJounte out, I mean, I don't even necessarily see them making the playoffs. I mean, like, play-in potentially is probably, like, the most realistic expectations.
That feels like 75% of the East, though. Like, the top of the East is great. And then, like,
dude, it's just
4
Celtics,
through 12
Knicks.
is just, like...
It is just Celtics, Knicks, Bucks, Sixers. It's just those 4 teams.
And the Heat, if they decide to be good again randomly, they just like
Jimmy Butler
always gets them in competition mode. Like,
moving on to the last headline here with the NBA offseason, Kemba Walker has retired as a player and has now been hired on to be an assistant coach in Charlotte. So congratulations.
We're in full on hopium mode for Hornets fans right now. New coach, Kemba's coming back. We're actually rebuilding. We're taking on bad contracts to get draft picks, which is what we should have been doing for so long. We're in full on hopium mode right now. It's going to be a good season.
Thanks for PJ, brother.
Yeah, for real.
PJ just never fit in. I didn't really get it because he seemed like he was a really good player. He just never really like meshed with anyone else on the Hornets. But, we got LaMelo, we got Brandon Miller.
Suck?
Dude, Melo's just got to get his head out of his ass. I think it's really just that simple. Like, LaMelo Ball has to put it together. I don't know what he needs to do, but he's got to put it together.
LaMelo? No, it's Lonzo. Lonzo's the one that hadn't played in like fucking 3 years.
Yeah, for the Bulls.
Right?
Yeah. Melo barely played last year.
Yeah, Lonzo had an interview like a month or two ago where the person asked him, he was like, how's your knee doing? And he was like, I'm probably about like 80%. Everyone was like, you've been out for 3 years.
Bro,
and it's at 80%.
Like the less obnoxious Ben Simmons. But
severely less obnoxious.
Yeah.
Well, it's because LeVar Ball stopped talking. We haven't heard about LeVar Ball in so long.
Correct.
If we'd still heard about LeVar, he'd be on the same level.
Well, no, it wasn't necessarily like I always felt bad for Lonzo because Lonzo was always kind of the chill one, and then LeVar was just a wiener and was just always.
LaMelo is LeVar.
LaMelo was like kind of a wiener.
He's pretty fucking obnoxious at times.
Yeah.
Bro, the videos of LaMelo tearing out of the Hornets parking garage in his like purple rolls fucking kills me.
Every
blowing
time.
stop signs, like flipping birds. It's fucking...
my favorite thing is they asked him, like, they're talking about going to Atlanta, and somehow it got brought up, like, how long do you think it takes to like drive to Atlanta? Because I think they took a charter flight from Charlotte, and LaMelo's like, I don't know, like hour and a half. It's like, with the way he drives, it actually probably is about an hour and a half. He's just tearing down I-85. But
that was good, dude.
Jeez.
I do have one piece of NBA news.
I after Rob, I do as well.
Mine is off the court. I don't know if yours is on the court. If you want to keep going with on the court,
it's kind of off the court. I hope we're thinking about the same thing.
In very sad news in NBA news, Sir Charles Barkley has announced his retirement from the broadcast booth at the end of next season. Incredibly sad. And I saw a Reddit thread and people were talking about it. And there's some good quotes from Chuck in there, so I have a couple I'd like to share with you guys.
I thought
were good ones from Chuck. So they were there on the show, and Kenny was talking about. He was saying, Hakeem used to always say this thing to me, and Chuck's like, "What? Go give me some water."
I quote fucking Chuck whenever we're together too.
When two guys are banging you,
yeah,
Chuckster, we're live here.
On whether he used steroids or not, he said, "No, I've always had to try to lose weight. I've never heard the words, Charles, you need to bulk up."
That's good.
Valid.
Yeah. That's great.
And then Ernie was talking about
those girls ain't from San Antonio. They flew them in
Antonio.
From Dallas.
Them in San Antonio women is always a good one. Last one, Ernie was talking about Auburn's high academic standards, and Chuck said 15 points, 10 rebounds will get you in too.
That's also great. Yeah. Wow.
But
I really
we
hope
would be-
this is not to make room for Draymond, because I will
God,
never watch
fuck.
a preseason or postseason, or excuse me, pregame or postgame thing ever again.
I do have one more. He's talking about nicknames for KD, and he said, I like something like Total Weapon because he can score from anywhere. He could score at a funeral.
Damn. That's crazy.
Yikes.
So shout out Chuck. Will be very missed, but obviously the NBA on TNT will no longer be happening after next year. So it kind of makes sense. We'll very much so miss the inside the NBA crew for sure.
100%. Ryan, what was your news?
All right. Well, we were just talking about Ben Simmons. Just want everyone to know he's 27. It's not like he's old. He's in his alleged prime. But the new alleged 2K ratings came out for 2K25.
If he's higher than an 80, I'm going to be pressed.
Yikes, I didn't know
This post included a picture of Simmons' 87 rating across 2K 19, 20, and 21 compared to the alleged new rating of 66 and 25.
There it is.
Oh.
Shaq caught wind of the post and wrote in the comments section, should be lower.
Oh my.
Shaq said, fuck him.
Dude, did y'all see Shaq was like trolling Drake the other day too? Did y'all see the post Shaq made of like, there's that picture of like he's on a boat with like, I think his wife or girlfriend or whoever, and she's really short and Shaq's obviously a very large human being. And there's like a picture of them like hugging on the boat. He photoshopped Drake's face onto like his wife and has them like hugging him on this boat. And he posted it himself on his Instagram story.
Bro, Shaq posted like 5 pictures with the Haktua girl on his like story the other day. It was him just making these devious faces. Like
he has a chicken restaurant in LA and I really want to go. I've never been, but he has like his own chicken place here. I need to go check it out because he apparently makes like regular appearances there too.
He's so good.
Right. Moving on from the NBA, we do have an idea from our co-host Robbie Bergstone here. We are doing a little draft to break things up. We're doing in honor of the game that we've all been waiting for. It's coming out very soon. EA College Football 25 that legitimately looks very good, and EA might have cooked.
I really think they cooked.
$70 on it, and I hate sports games.
I think they cooked.
I pre-ordered it. I could not bring myself to pay $30 for 3 extra days of gaming, but I have pre-ordered.
But obviously there is the Dynasty mode, the beloved Dynasty mode in all these NCAA games. And Robbie would like to do a draft of the teams that are the best teams to start a Dynasty with. So we will be doing that, Robbie, if you wanna lead the pack here.
Well, I randomized the order. Do you want to go in a randomized order? You want me to go first?
Randomized order.
All right, it's Ryan, me, then Connor.
Oh, this is good.
I gotta start.
Ryan never has to start. This is nice.
Shit.
I
have on my like college football team list.
Do we want to go like 3 deep? I don't think we need to go 5 deep here.
Yeah, no, just 3. Just 3.
Yeah.
Just 3. I have enough on my. Robbie, I'm interested to see what you got there because you are experienced in this realm, and
God, I don't know. I really didn't like prepare for this super well.
We could switch the order. Robbie, do you want to go first?
No. Let me cook.
Let him cook.
Honestly, I kind of want to go with like ECU.
That's a fun school.
Yeah. I like the Pirates. I like the theme for the school. Like they're still like they're the shitters of like a Power 5 conference. Well, Power 4, I guess. And the ACC obviously will eventually disband, but like they've been awful, but they're still a Power 5. So could be fun to build with them.
I'm going to go with the one team entering FBS for the first time this upcoming year, which means they are in the video game. It's a little bit of a homer pick because my girlfriend also went there. But the Kennesaw State Owls will be in the game, and as their first year in FBS, build them up to beat Georgia, which just will bring me great joy to be the best team in the state of Georgia. That's going to be my first pick for sure.
With my first pick in this draft, gentlemen, I am going with a Power 5 team, but it's a
It's kind of
brand
an L
new
take.
Power 5 team.
Okay,
I'm going with the SMU
that's fair.
Mustangs.
Going to bring back the Pony Express, get the death penalty. What's going to go on?
Absolutely.
Okay, good,
Absolutely. I mean, the SMU got, were a powerhouse in the 1980s, and obviously with all the stuff that they faced, they were never really able to recover. And them being entered into the Power 5 this year, I think they have a lot to prove. They have a lot of ground to make up. And yeah, it's kind of a hometown area, but it's also one of the only teams that's kind of in a unique situation like that. So I'm going with SMU. Yep. My next pick, I'm between a few. I'm going to go with the fun one just because I like the presentation and I think it looks cool and I've seen it in the trailer. I'm going to go with Arkansas State because of the waterfall touchdown celebration. Because whenever they score a touchdown, there's like huge waterfalls in the background and stuff. I'm going to go with that just because I like how it looks. I like how it looks, and I think it's fun. And they're a smaller school, and yeah, we're going to go with Arkansas State. I was just looking up.
Butch Jones is still the head coach of Arkansas State, which I always forget that he's there and not at Tennessee. For my second pick, I'm also going to go with a closer to home school, another black and yellow school. I guess is just my thing right now. A program that everyone really, really likes. I think they're pretty well liked, especially since their big upset of Michigan in the Big House back in the day, coming off back-to-back FCS championships. The Appalachian State Mountaineers.
Yep.
For another reason too, just that their stadium is beautiful, and I'm sure it's going to look great in the game. It's right in the mountains in Boone, just completely surrounded. It is gorgeous. So I'm sure it's going to look really good in the game too, because I saw like BYU stadium mock-up and it looked fantastic. So I'm going to go with the Nears. Roll Nears.
Roll Nears.
We got Ryan.
Brother. I got to go with Army. I feel like it's kind of crazy.
Army hates you.
You got Army versus Navy, Army Notre Dame, and Independence. Like, are they independent or are they like now like AC's? Like, are they still independent?
Army's still independent.
Well, it should be.
Them and Navy are both still independent. No.
But yeah, like independent school, fuck yeah. Like let's
it just means if you're an independent, you can never get a first round bye in the 12-team playoff.
I don't need that shit.
Which makes me happy that Notre Dame can't get one. That just brings joy to my heart. But
from a gameplay perspective, triple option is like one of the best
so
things.
It's the playbook.
Damn it! Oh well, I'm not gonna let myself pick like Navy or anything because that's a cop out. But I also wanted Army. Damn it!
That's crazy.
What's your third pick? The last pick.
I think my last pick is going to be UAB.
I thought about that.
Cook.
We
add to no longer having a program to making bowls and actually being like reasonable. I want to bring them all the way up, beat like the top cream of the crop, SEC, Bama, Georgia, Auburn, like run the state of Alabama after not having a football program and just cook. I think that.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but so I'm going to run like a normal dynasty where like I play with the normal conferences that exist now. And then I'm also going to take time and build like regional super conferences, like the way conferences should be, where you play against teams that are in your geographical area and not this bullshit of Cal playing fucking UNC because that makes no sense. And I'm going to make a dynasty where I make the conferences too. So that's just, I'm going to have two different ones running because I'm going to spend way too much time in this game.
Johnson's jimmying listening to Robbie talk.
On God. My last one is a school I've always had a lot of respect for, and they got really screwed in this last round of realignment. A former Power 5 school, I guess we could call them. There's two obviously still remaining in the Pac-2 or the 2-Pac, depending on how you want to call them. But I've always had a soft spot for the Oregon State Beavers, especially coming off of a pretty good year last year. I think it could be fun to play with the Beavs and bring them back and give a middle finger to everyone that left them behind. Just let them know what it is.
Gentlemen, I'm between a few teams here, and if we had gone 5 deep, I would have taken my school. I would have taken it with my last pick, Oklahoma State.
I just can't bring myself to play Alabama. It's not fun.
Yeah, but that's different. That's different than Oklahoma State, though. I mean, you guys have had
Oklahoma State's a tier 1 school.
I mean,
yeah, that's true.
True. But I'm between two here, and to be honest, it's because I like the colors of one school, and the other one is just like location wise and name wise. They just haven't had a lot. I think I'm going to go the location just because I think that's cool. I want to make Hawaii a powerhouse. I want to make Hawaii a great football school because they never, Never really
I think
happened.
they might have like the haka in there too, like the dance that they do. Like I would not be surprised to see the
sick.
haka in game too. Imagine like every game you could just start out with the haka. Like that'd be pretty
Right.
sick.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Hawaii with my last pick. Some honorable mentions for me. Coastal Carolina was the
Yep.
colors I was talking about.
I just can't bring myself to play on that field every single week. Like because
Yeah.
their field is literally teal. Like I can't do it.
Honorable mention for me, Rutgers.
Yeah,
Big
it's a fun
10,
one.
but has been shit. They actually made a bowl, but like they've been shit for like the last 15 years.
Mine, if I was gonna pick a Power 5 team, I'd go Wake Forest, just because that's the team in North Carolina that I actually enjoy the most, and like I think there'd be a fun one to build. So I would go Wake for my honorable mention.
Another honorable mention, Power 5. I think Texas Tech would be a lot of fun, just because of how sick their uniforms are. Run the old air raid. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Tortillas on the field everywhere. It could get wild.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna skip to the next thing here. Ryan, we're gonna swing it over to you because we are going to go into the MLB season update, where we stand right now. Gentlemen, I want to say that I can't wait until ESPN once again forces Aaron Judge down our collective throats. Correct. Yes, that is what I'm. It's going to happen again. So, ladies and gentlemen, be prepared for your screens for the games that you want to watch to not be able to watch because we have to watch Aaron Judge walk for the third time that game.
Every single at bat, I have to watch Aaron Judge. It's just required.
Honestly, ESPN's coping from the fact that the Orioles have passed the Yankees again.
Let's go O's.
AL East.
Let's go.
O's are probably the most disrespected and slept on team in Major League Baseball. They were dog shit for a while, and like the last 3 to 4 years have actually been like consistently potentially one of the best teams in the league. But yeah, starting as always with the American League East, like I said, the Orioles have a 1-game lead on those dreaded Yankees. Then you got the Red Sox, Rays, and Blue Jays all behind them doing fuck all. Yankees have lost last 3 of 7. Like I said, the ESPN is currently coping. Over to the Central, we have the Cleveland Guardians leading the division by 6 games, followed by the Twins, Royals, Detroit Tigers, who are 16 games back, and the Chicago White Sox, who are a lovely 24-63.
Tough scenes in the South Side.
Tough scenes. They're 8-34 away from the South Side. Not your best away record you're going to see in the league. Throwing it over to the AL West, home of your previously winning World Series winning team, the Texas Rangers, who find themselves comfortably in third place in that division.
7 games under 500.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. The Mariners, who potentially... The Mariners have the worst division leading record in baseball at only 7 games over 500. It's just the AL West has been fucking awful this entire year.
Yeah.
Have the Astros sitting right at 500. Rangers, like Robbie said, 7 games back. Angels also blowing, and the Athletics, who are still better than the White Sox. Moving it over to the NL East. Moving over to the NL East, we have our best in baseball Philadelphia Phillies, which, pains Robbie so much.
Yeah, it does.
Robbie.
Yeah.
They are leading the Braves by about 9 games, and then you got the Mets, Nationals, and Marlins in that order. Unfortunately, so far, kind of the midpoint of the season, looks like the Phillies are kind of making a run for it.
Braves aren't catching them without Acuna and Strider. It's just not. It's just simply not happening.
Braves got bit by the injury plague this year. Can't win them all. So
you would think the sky was falling with Braves fans. Like everyone's like talking like the Braves are like 10 games under 500. Meanwhile, they're like leading the wild card and like 9 games over 500. So they'll probably make a wild card.
Best young core in baseball. But
yeah, this year's gonna be down. You can't lose your best pitcher. Well, maybe your best pitcher and your best player and expect to still win the division. It's just not gonna happen.
Yep. Yes, sir. So the Marlins, the worst in that division. They are the third worst team in baseball. Going to the Central, we got the Brewers leading the division, followed by the Cardinals, 6 games back, Pirates, Reds, and Cubs. The Reds, once again, kind of disappointing. I actually just heard the fireworks went off, so somebody hit a home run.
Let's go.
And the Cubs can continue to suck. To the West, the payroll leading Dodgers are leading the division. 8.5 games over the Padres, followed by the Giants, the World Series runner-up Diamondbacks, 3 games under 500, and your Colorado Rockies.
Did we ever hear
baseball to be played? We are coming up on All-Star break pretty soon. 3 Phillies infielders actually are starting in the All-Star game. I don't know if we wanted to potentially talk about like the All-Star lineups or anything like that, Connor.
Have they set them? I saw that they did the fan vote. I didn't think they'd actually set the lineups yet.
Yeah, it's my understanding.
Not okay.
It's just that they've done the fan vote, but they haven't done like the coaches and players vote, so nothing has been set yet.
Yeah.
Ryan, did we ever hear if the Parrot got us tickets?
No, no, as in we haven't heard.
Okay, very well.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you for that MLB update. Obviously, the All-Star stuff just around the corner here. A few quick things to mention before we get into our last thing. We're going to do a bracket. But the Summer Olympics, obviously, the qualifiers have been going on over the last 2 weeks or however long it's been. Those are on the way. They will start at the end of this month. I'm excited, gentlemen. I'm very excited to see. This will be quote unquote the first normal Olympics, I guess, since the 2016 ones, the summer ones. So it'll be really interesting. Huge congratulations. I'm currently blanking out on his name, and I feel bad about it. But there is a track runner who was only 16 years old that qualified for the 4x400 to run for the U.S. So huge congrats to him. Imagine going to the Olympics and then going back to high school. Right, and
That's crazy.
Like that. That is unbelievable.
Is he,
so huge
sorry,
I
didn't hear you. Is he like going to be like an alternate, or is he going to be like actively
I think he's actively on the 4x400 team.
That's fucking nuts.
Yeah,
Holy
which
shit.
is like unbelievable. I think he broke the 16-year world record twice whenever he ran the qualifiers, from my understanding. So yeah, that's just unbelievable. And I always love certain events in the Olympics. Obviously the swimming's always a good time. The track's always a good time. So I really enjoy watching that. And obviously the basketball should be a good time given the amount of names that committed to playing in the Olympics. Cause I think they were tired of losing, the U.S. was tired.
I think we're tired of getting embarrassed.
Correct. Yeah. So the Avengers formed, and we hopefully should work our way through the Olympics pretty well. On the basketball side, Wimbledon is currently underway. There's some tennis going on. I believe the finals are not this coming up Sunday, but I believe the next Sunday is when the finals are. But play started this morning, so yeah, we will keep you updated on stuff that happens there. On probably only the winners and stuff, but that's happening, gentlemen. We're going to get into our bracket. Full disclosure to the audience, I utilized ChatGPT to help me with this bracket. I did come up with the idea, but in terms of the seating and stuff and the actual entries, quite honestly, it was just from a time perspective, just easier for me to utilize ChatGPT to do this. So I got this idea from the Stanley Cup, from the Panthers and the Oilers, basically because they were on the verge of one of the biggest collapses in sports history. I now have a 16-seeded bracket that consists of the biggest collapses in sports history, and we're going to how do we want to do this? Do we want the winner to be what we think the biggest collapse is of all time?
Yeah, with the worst, like it's essentially like whatever the worst is. Yeah,
whatever the worst one is. All right, gentlemen, another reminder, I did not do the seeding. Because totally honestly, I didn't know how to seed this, so ChatGPT also did that. The first matchup, we have the Virginia Cavaliers lose to UMBC as the first 16-1 upset in March Madness history.
Yeah.
Versus the Dallas Mavericks collapse in 2006 versus the Miami Heat.
Virginia.
Yeah. If it had been anything else, like because like it has to now happen again, which I feel like I mean obviously Virginia was the first and that's the worst, but like it has lessened the blow now that Farley Dickinson also beat Purdue.
It wasn't just that, they got their ass beat. It was like 25 points.
It was
slapped, like bad.
Yeah, walked like dog walked.
Yeah, by the retrievers. By the retrievers.
Yeah. So this one's kind of interesting. So basically, it's the Toronto Maple Leafs blow a 4-1 lead in the Stanley Cup, which resulted in 4-1 lead, referencing the score of the game, not the series. Obviously, that wouldn't make any sense. So 4-1 lead in order for them to lose in Game 7 in the Stanley Cup, or the Buffalo Bills losing 4 consecutive Super Bowls.
It's the Bills. I think it's the Bills
just
because I the funny thing is, like, I know this in the Stanley Cup, but Maple Leafs fans probably have like a laundry list of collapses for them to choose from.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's almost just expected at this point. But losing 4 Super Bowls in a row is worse to me than losing 1 Stanley Cup.
anybody, not even one Stanley, it's just one game. Anybody
Right.
can choke one game, right? Like
Yeah.
that just is the nature of sports. But fucking, like Rob said, you go the entire season, which is like 25 weeks, whatever you want to call it, 24 weeks, and you lose the last game of the season every single time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That is pretty
just
terrible.
That's tough to top, really.
So this next one's a little interesting. Like I said, ChatGPT helped me come up with some of these because this isn't necessarily a collapse, but more of a decision. The Seattle Seahawks passed the ball instead of running the ball with Marshawn Lynch against the New England Patriots versus the San Jose Sharks blow a 3-0 series lead in the Stanley Cup.
It's the Sharks, and here's why.
Yeah.
Everyone knew or thought that they were going to run the ball with Marshawn Lynch, including the Patriots. The only reason that the Patriots defended that is because Malcolm Butler made a phenomenal play on that ball. Like, it wasn't really a bad decision, I don't think. I know a lot of people like to rip on Pete Carroll for it, but like, I got the decision making. It was a great individual play to stop the touchdown from happening.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
A 3-0 lead.
Yeah.
And this is like if you don't watch hockey, this is the point in time, like the Sharks had a run during this time where they were one of the best teams in hockey consistently. Like, we're at the top of the Western Conference. We're going into the playoffs expecting to make the Stanley Cup. And they go up 3-0, I believe, in the first round and lose it. I mean, you're supposed to be one of the best teams in hockey at this point, and you drop a 3-0 lead. I think it's that one.
Yeah.
I can't call choking like on one play. I just can't.
Yeah.
I don't like, especially on a play call.
It's fair.
Again, this is 4 games versus 1 play.
Yeah, 100%. I get it.
Yep.
All right. The Houston Oilers blow a 32-point lead. I think that's pretty terrible. Versus the New York Yankees blowing a 3-0 lead against the Boston Red Sox in the ALCS.
Yankees.
You can't do that against your rival. You can't do that against your rival.
That's exactly it. If it was against like the Mariners or whatever, I would probably say the Houston blown game. But like that is the biggest rivalry in baseball. They fucking despise each other.
And not only did they let the Red Sox come back and win that series, the Red Sox winning that series allowed them to win their first World Series in however many, I can't remember how long.
80 something years.
It's
it was
so
the
long.
curse.
Like,
Yep. All right. Next one here. Actually, funnily enough, the basketball ones got matched up against each other. It's the Golden State Warriors blow a 3-run lead versus the Philadelphia 76ers blowing a 3-1 lead.
Warriors.
Yeah,
It's
the finals compared to exactly.
Yep.
The Ryan's gonna love it. The Texas Rangers losing the World Series after being 1 strike away versus the Michigan Wolverines losing to Appalachian State in 2007.
These are both bad. These are both really bad.
They're really bad. But again, it's a series versus a game.
I have a homer bias pick.
Of course, yeah. Of course.
But in my biased defense, that motherfucker just has to catch the ball, or Neftali Felice just has to throw one more goddamn strike. Like, how do you let that unravel? I don't know.
He's about to go on a rant.
That was like potentially like the biggest week 1 upset of all time.
I'm trying to remember what was Michigan ranked in that game.
Number 5.
Yep. I mean,
Unranked,
to be fair,
App
State was coming off of, I believe, 2 consecutive FCS national championships. Like, they were not a bad team. They were the North Dakota State of that time. I mean, they were really dominant FCS, but you're at home against an FCS team. You're ranked in the top 5 is tough.
Yeah. That is crazy.
Chad Henne was the quarterback of that Michigan team. Yeah, I do too.
I remember where I was for that when I heard or saw that, which is like we were leaving California Pizza Kitchen. We were like out at dinner as a family, and I remember like we get in the car, ESPN's on because it's like opening college football weekend, and you just hear like the radio announcer play by play going fucking ape shit. Michigan just lost
because they blocked the field goal in the last play too. Like that was the whole thing. Like they had the field goal to win it, and they blocked it. It's like kick 6. I still remember where I was.
Actually.
I still remember where I was when I watched kick 6, which obviously I was not an Alabama fan at the time, but I was in a Mellow Mushroom, apparently also in a pizza joint for a big game like that, and the entire restaurant.
I remember this. Yep.
The entire restaurant lost their shit when Auburn returned that kick. Like everyone was cheering because it was big bad Alabama going down.
That was nuts.
We had picked up feed store. We're watching the end of that game on the upstairs TV. I remember, and I this was before I a year before, 2 years before we chose or whatever. Yeah. I remember watching that. I was like, holy shit. But okay, I will go Big House. I think I might have to go Michigan there.
All right, moving them through. Hold on. Sorry, let me get to my things. I don't know the entire. The Los Angeles Dodgers collapsing versus the Houston Astros in 2017, losing Games 5 and Game 7 both at home after being up considerably in both games against the cheating Astros.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Or the St. Louis Blues collapsing versus the Los Angeles. Holy crap! I can't. Thank
Kings,
you.
probably.
I was like, I forgot about. Yeah.
How bad of a collapse? I'm trying to remember the Blues collapse. Was that another 3-0?
Yeah, I don't remember that one.
Sorry, hold on. Let me look. Was that like Kings? Let me go back to the conversation. I had it all written down, and then it got short.
All of these I've heard or remembered, at least even the hockey ones, but I don't remember.
I don't remember the Blues one either.
Let's see. Hold on.
Fun fact: Philly's radio host was suspended after an unwelcome kiss to one of the employees bringing food into the press box.
Yes, of course.
In 2013, the Blues lost 4 straight after leading the series 2-0.
Oh, that's tough. That one's really weak. Good job, ChatGPT, because losing to a team that has been confirmed cheating, I don't really chalk up as a big loss in my mind,
I guess.
Right? It's not big of a choke. So I'm probably going to go with the Blues, even though it's only 2 games. 2-0 lead.
Yeah.
Cool.
I would agree.
Last one here. Oh, this is it. Oh, this is a really good one.
It's got to be 28-3. Is it 28-3?
Versus?
What have we not... Give me how long ago? Within how many years?
I'm trying to remember. Slightly
give me a sport. Give me
football.
Football.
It might involve one of the same teams. Versus the New England Patriots losing their perfect season to
against the Giants. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Against the upstart Giants.
Yeah. 28-3 versus the New England losing their perfect season in the Super Bowl to the Giants.
Yeah, that's such a good one.
Which I don't know how it ranked it. This is a 2-15 matchup. Why did it rank it like that?
I'm gonna go 28-3.
Okay.
Because in retrospect, the Patriots have won plenty of more Super Bowls. Obviously, you want to win every Super Bowl that you're in. But they have won plenty of other Super Bowls. Obviously, you want to have the perfect season, whatever that may be. The Atlanta Falcons, that was their shot. That was your chance to win a Super Bowl, and you were up 28-3. And you decide to just stop playing. You just stopped playing like the game was over. The Patriots game, they still could have won that game. If it wasn't for the Tyree helmet catch, the Patriots win that game. They were in that game. It wasn't really a collapse. It was a really good football game.
The Giants also got nuclear hot at the right time, and we've seen it time and time again where a wild card team comes out of the NFL and potentially wins the Super Bowl. That's
happens in the MLB all the time too. You just get hot in the playoffs and just go.
Literally, the Diamondbacks last year and the Rangers both were teams that were not supposed to be there. The Rangers didn't lose a game on the road. That stuff just always happens. But you are up winning at halftime by more than 3 touchdowns.
With the MVP at quarterback. Matt Ryan won the MVP that year.
Mm-hmm.
And you just
it's inexcusable. It's inexcusable.
Right. 23 moves on. Going to
franchise, by the way.
Yeah.
Second round here, Virginia Cavaliers lose to UMBC versus the Buffalo Bills losing 4 consecutive Super Bowls.
God damn.
Yeah, that's also yikes. For me, because now it's been done more, probably the Bills, because you lost 4 Super Bowls.
It comes back to 4.
Yeah.
One
Like,
one is
unbelievable.
one is a giant upset versus you have 4 chances to do
And-
to,
Yeah.
like
And remember that the next year, Virginia won the national championship too. Like, yes, they
Yeah.
lost the
That
16
is
seed. The
true.
very next year, they turned around and won the national championship. The Bills have
Yeah.
not won a Super Bowl since they lost 4 in a row. They've been back. So,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
crazy.
I got to give it to the Bills. Almost a half decade long just choke job.
yeah.
San Jose Sharks blow a 3-0 series lead versus the New York Yankees blowing the 3-0 lead.
Yeah, Yankees.
It has
It's
to
not
be
even.
Yankees.
It's not even really close, to be honest.
That's crazy. All right. This one's kind of. We'll see what you guys think. I'm interested to hear. Golden State blowing a 3-1 lead in the 2016 NBA Finals versus Michigan losing to Appalachian State.
Fuck.
I want to go Michigan just because, like, yes, they blew a 3-1 lead, but they blew a 3-1 lead to LeBron James.
Arguably, yeah, the greatest player of all time, which is
Yeah.
Fair.
Like, not, it's still not excusable, but like, it's okay. The Michigan lost to
Yeah.
Armonte Edwards playing quarterback for Appalachian State. I mean, like,
Hey, you remember his name though?
I
What a
only because I just looked at the fucking box score like
Oh,
5 minutes
Okay.
ago. I might have been able to pull that because I saw his name. Like, oh yeah, I forgot he was there. But
Yeah. All right. Let's go with Michigan. That's fun. All right. I'm assuming I know this. St. Louis Blues versus the Atlanta Falcons.
it's not
28-3.
close. Yeah, it's the Falcons.
Yeah. All right. Buffalo Bills losing 4 consecutive Super Bowls versus the Yankees losing the 3-0 against the Red Sox.
Agony.
for
Pure
a lot of people.
agony.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
I feel sick to my stomach if I was like,
Yeah.
ugh.
I just
is
want to throw out there
terrible.
that I'm glad that none of my teams are on this list. We're
Yeah,
just bad.
that
You
is-
never get to that point. You just don't have the chance
Yeah.
to collapse because you're never there in the first place.
The Mavs, I guess, were in first round, but you know,
The only thing I have
The
against
Rangers.
Yeah.
the only thing I have against the Yankees and the Red Sox, it's not the World Series. It's the only thing
Yeah.
I would say. It's
But
the
it's
ALCS.
it's their World Series, bro.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
And like I said, like the fact that like that's the series that allowed the Red Sox to go on and break their curse, which is like obviously the Yankees have all of these World Series. They're still a better franchise than the Red Sox are.
Yeah,
Like not only could you say we've won 20 something World Series, you haven't won one since like they let black people play in the MLB. Like legitimately, like
Yeah.
that was something you could hold over their head, and you collapse and let them go win the World Series.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's tough.
Just 4 back-to-back Super Bowls.
I can't get over 4 in a row.
It's just
Or
I
Jim
can't.
Kelly, man. Just like imagine being Jim Kelly and like all you remember for, like he was a great quarterback, but all you remember for is losing 4 straight Super Bowls.
what's the pick here, gents?
It's the Bills and a tight one, like tight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. All right, this is another interesting one. The Michigan Wolverines losing to Appalachian State versus the 28-3 Atlanta Falcons loss.
I think it's 28-3 just because that's the Super Bowl. Like that is
Yeah.
the biggest game you play all year versus like, yeah, you shouldn't have lost to Appalachian State, but like in the grand scheme of
Yeah.
things, like that Michigan team wasn't very good anyways. So
Okay, Ryan, 28-3.
Yeah.
And in the finals, 2 NFL matchups. The Buffalo Bills losing 4 consecutive Super Bowls versus the Atlanta Falcons losing their 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl. I think this should go to the Falcons because the Bills got there every year. And yeah, I granted, I haven't looked at the box score or anything like that. But for the most part, it seemed, I don't know.
they
It's
lost
like,
a couple.
if you're talking
they
about
lost
a
always,
collapse,
but they lost always 2 of those games on missed field goals.
which isn't a collapse. Like that's just a
It's a collapse by your
You know.
kicker. That's like their one
yeah,
job.
yeah. But dude, like the Falcons one is the definition of a collapse.
Bro, I don't know. The Bills went and lost like the 93 Super Bowl to the Cowboys and had 9 turnovers and lost 52 to 17 in this
crap, I
fucking
didn't-
yeah.
Super Bowl.
9 turnovers is crazy.
They lost back-to-back years to the boys.
Yeah.
Man, this one's hard. This is crazy.
I don't know. This one, yeah.
I gotta look at the scores for each of these. So
Yeah, I think
Bills
that's
lost 20-19 to the
Okay.
Giants.
fair. Okay, not not a collapse
37-24
from a score perspective.
against the Redskins.
It's still probably not a collapse.
52-17
by the way,
against the
no.
Boys.
The first one against the Giants with 8 seconds left, missed a 47-yard field goal wide right. So lost.
Wait, wide right
on a
is
field goal miss.
Yeah.
Robbie said they lost 2 on a field goal miss.
I was wrong. It is only one. They
Oh, it's
lost the
only
first one. Yep.
So what was the score of the fourth Super Bowl?
It was not close. It was the Cowboys again. I was just added up.
30-13.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's kind of
I
a
don't
collapse
know.
to get that far and get blown out in 3 of the 4 games.
I hear you. It's just it almost seems like it was unfair that the Bills were in this because it's like it's 4 things compared to kind of.
Well, so they
individual.
were up on the Cowboys 13-6 at half in the last game and lost 30-13.
Jeez. It's probably got to be the Bills. Yeah, it probably does.
I think it's the Bills.
Yeah, it probably
The
does.
middle two, they never had a lead. It doesn't look like.
Yeah, they
The
got
first one and
routed
the
by
last
the
one.
Redskins and the Cowboys, and then
The first one and the last one, it seemed like they had a chance to win both of those.
Hmm.
Okay, here's something to look at too. Bills are favored by 7 in the first one. Redskins by 7 in the second. Cowboys by 6.5 in the third. Cowboys by 10.5 in the fourth.
So they were only favored in the first one, and they
only
lost by 1.
Yep.
Damn. All right. What's the move here, gents?
pain, suffering. I feel depressed reading.
They both should win / lose depending on how you look at this. Like,
Yeah.
it is 1A and 1B regardless. But I think
True.
I think I got to give it to the Bills.
yeah.
All right, we're going Bills. Congratulations to the, or I don't. Congratulations isn't the right word, but sorry to the
or
fans.
condolences. Yeah.
Yeah, to the fans of the Buffalo Bills. You got Bills Mafia. You guys are strong. I apologize for what happened to you in the 1990s.
Josh Allen will figure it out. He'll get you there.
Yeah, hopefully. So yeah, that's all we had for our show today. Thank you guys very much for joining, Robbie and Ryan. Thank you guys for coming back on. I know it's been a little while. Robbie, do you want to sign us out?
Absolutely. For myself, Ryan O'Connor, thank you for listening. Go like, subscribe, interact with us on social media when we start posting things again. And please gamble responsibly.
Say it.